I want you to raise your hand if you've ever felt personally victimized by Mercury being in retrograde. I know I certainly have. Welcome to Morning Reflections. I am your host, the Fat Mantis. We're going to get into it, but yes, I am talking about Mercury, the planet. It is in retrograde. In astrology, it is the planet that actually controls our strands of communication. So when it's in retrograde, you're a bad talker, you're a bad thinker, you're bad getting it all together and communicate or expressing yourself. People have trouble understanding you. As you can see, I'm stumbling on my own words, which this should make for a fun Democratic debate tonight. But if you didn't know, each one of our planets conducts a different control of us. Like Mercury is our communications, Venus is our love line, Mars, which is almost never in retrograde, is our conflict and fighting abilities, which is why we have a small talent for war. We're really good at fighting because it's never in retrograde. Jupiter has to do with our self-reflection and growth. Saturn has to do with our confidence. And Uranus, I think it has something to do with getting ass or something like that. But let's move on. We need to discuss entertainment. The first thing I want to discuss is the Birds of Trash. That's right, the new Margot Robbie flop. The numbers are in and there's no saving it. It's done horrible. And people don't know who to blame in this particular case. Now, I know who to blame, but first I want to discuss who other people are blaming. So we have some YouTubers, particularly those of the feminist persuasion, and some of them are actually claiming that it's the R rating, that it's an R-rated film and people weren't able to bring their families and it lost the family connection of superhero movies. However, we have movies like Deadpool and other things. We've got Logan out of Fox and all that stuff that did excellently for themselves. Even Joker broke $1 billion and that was an R-rated movie. So clearly it is not an R-rated thing. So let's scratch that off the thing. The next one, a lot of people continue to do this, and I think it's getting less popular to do this. Toxic masculinity. They are blaming toxic males. They believe that angry fanboys who don't want to see women succeed or something, or an all-girl superhero team, are saying that it's the end, and they boycotted it. The problem with that analysis is that, believe it or not, I know this doesn't seem like this in your own universe, but fanboys and fangirls, they're less powerful than you believe. They control less of the strings going on. For instance, if movies make $1 billion, a majority of these people are not people who enjoy YouTube. A majority of them are really little kids or adults who bring their kids to see it. So it's, even though there's all these think pieces, rage pieces, YouTubes, if you were to sit down with fans of Star Wars or any of these other genres, Avengers movies or anything like that, the vast majority of these people are not affected by the rants and raves of fanboys. So when we have all these people on YouTube or all these other, people writing all these small these small articles about how horrible something is, particularly like, we hate women, we hate Captain Marvel, we hate all these things. It's hitting a lot of people to make money, but it's not hitting the majority of people. Movies can still make money with bad press from YouTube or whatever. And actually, there's a long history of fanboyism trying to sabotage a movie but completely failing. So that doesn't seem to be the case, that just simply toxic masculinity has poisoned this movie. The next theory, which is the one Warner Brothers is pitching, is that it's the coronavirus. That's right, even though the movie has not been released in China, officially Warner Brothers is saying the reason why the movie is a flop, it's not that they made a bad movie or they marketed it wrong, it's that it's the coronavirus, that people in general have a fear of going out in public. They believe that the coronavirus is here and it's destroying everything, and that all of society is just not going out. People aren't shopping, people aren't doing things, and they're not going to movies. I don't know about you, I have actually left my house since the outbreak like 8 weeks ago. And society continues to move on. There's still traffic in the streets. There's still kids going to school. There's all sorts of things. There's activity in the supermarket. So I'm not sure where Warner Brothers is coming up with that. But I will tell you this, and for the record, I'll tell you, when Joe Biden doesn't win the presidency, I bet you he's going to be blaming the coronavirus. And you know why that is? It's because all the DNC hackers will be sick. So they won't be able to rig the election. There you go. But I'm going to tell you that I have the actual real answer as to why this is happening. And it goes down to marketing. It's marketing, and it has to do with costumes. Now, first thing I got to say is the commercials and all the things that I saw about this, No bueno. Did not enjoy it. Looks disgusting. Looks annoying. Does not look like a film I want to see. But as we go on, I want to talk about costume design and how you get people into the movies now. Take a look at these costumes. These are the costumes, compared to the film with the comic book source material. And if you ever notice, characters in movies, this includes Marvel movies who are successful all the time, when they are not adapted correctly and people do not respect the actual costumes or the original source material, you lose part of your fan base. I'll give you an example. Hawkeye is one of the most hated members of live-action Avengers, but one of the most beloved in the comic books. And it came down to this. They did not brand him as a superhero. They didn't give him his original costume, they didn't give him his original antics, they didn't give him trick arrows or any of those shenanigans, and they didn't show him doing cool things, and as a result, fans rejected him. Well, thank God he was part of a bigger franchise where you don't need Hawkeye to sell at all. But what happens when they fail short on all the characters? What it is these characters are completely unrecognizable from their source material. The source material is what would get us in there. And I'm going to tell you, I read Birds of Prey comics all the time. I actually would say that I love them. And, for my first insult was that there was no Barbara Gordon because she is a founding member. But another thing was that look at these guys. They are not the characters we know and love. It's completely insulting. And it is a bad adaptation. At the end of the day, it's a bad adaptation. I don't know why all these movies or television shows, they do this a lot with superheroes. Instead of giving them their full powers or their full abilities or giving the character their costume, they say, you know what, this is a slow burn. Over time, they'll get what they're supposed to be, but right now you have to watch this origin. So you'll see a character like be a superhero in a sweatshirt or something like that. No one wants that. And it's clear people are rejecting that. To be honest, I would think that, even though I loved Daredevil season 1, I would say shows like that or Luke Cage and all these things, they would actually have done more successful if the characters were able to obtain their identities in a faster manner. Perfect examples of successes of this is both Arrow and The Flash with the characters. By the end of the pilot, boom, they had their costumes, they were going, and we were intrigued. We were caught up into it. Now, there is another thing that's going on. One of their chief things that they are selling is Margot Robbie. No, I'm not gonna lie, she is a beautiful woman. Look at her, man. She's practically a white goddess. She has great sex appeal. She has all sorts of great stuff going on for her. Now, what happens is, the problem is that they decided to make her hobo chic. If you've ever seen the movie Zoolander, she looks like she is at the fashion show for Derelict. She looks like a bad woman who decided to make a superhero movie. And she's lost all sexiness. Look at these outfits. As a male, I don't want to see that. I certainly don't want to see the prettiest girl at the ball dressed up like that. I don't know why they thought of this. If they just kept her in her sexy Harlequin costume, we would have loved it. But I don't know what possessed them to dress her like this. And I think other women might be like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is cool. Look at the fashion. She's fashion forward. It's bizarre. It's utterly, it's from another planet. Now, we got to face it. The people who buy most of the tickets to these things are males in one way or another. So you're going to want to catch the male eye. You're going to want a guy to be like, oh, look at Harlequin. I would tap that. Yes, you want them to say that. I know it sounds crude or whatever, but that if you want to sell movie tickets, if you don't want to waste your millions upon millions of dollars on a bad movie, build it and no one show up to it, then you better sell that sexuality, straight up. Okay, but we've got to move on. And the next thing on my thing, the Boy Scouts. Now, this is a sensitive topic. This is, I don't do a lot of trigger warnings, but I'm going to have to do it right now because obviously it's a tough conversation. Now, I'm going to tell you, I was a Boy Scout, and just to let you know what I'm talking about, the Boy Scouts recently went into bankruptcy. They're done. And it comes from all the lawsuits from all the sexual molestation that's going on. That it's not just people sexually molesting kids, it's that it was the institution was looking the other way. The existence of the Boy Scouts points out the oxymoronacy of the world we live in. We say one thing and we do another. And yes, you caught me, I made up that word. So we say one thing, we do another. And examples of this are, for instance, children are our future. Children are everything we love and we need the children. We need to protect the children. And yet we have countless organizations that institutionalize, abuse, or mistreat or take advantage of children on a daily basis. on groups that are supposed to protect or watch out for them. So we are saying we love the children. At the same time, we are feeding them over to these evil machines. And I'm sorry if I'm getting too political for people out there, but it is disgusting. And I will say that I was a Boy Scout. I was, I actually started out a Cub Scout. I earned my way up to a Weevil Scout. I remember I was just catching badges all the time. I was totally into the scene. It meant a lot to me, and I love it. And I was very, what I was very blessed to have on camping trips. We would have a lot of moms chaperoning, if you catch my meaning. And that's what I am blessed to have. So I had a good Boy Scout experience, and unfortunately, others haven't, and it's absolutely disgusting. Such a wonderful organization that could do such things for people responsible for all of this, and it's just heartbreaking, man. I'm sorry if I'm kind of being a hippie right now. So F that. Switching topics, the Academy Award. Yo, Renee Zellweger, that was drunk. That was totally drunk. Did you see her accept it? If any of you can understand what she actually said, she was slurring her speech. I think she was channeling Judy Garland as to be like a method actor or something. But no, that was just nuts, man. She was trying to outdo our man, Joaquin, who part of his speech was very endearing and brilliant, and the other parts was just from a horrible, dreadful nightmare. I worry for the guy, man. Get him some help. So anyway, that is your morning reflections. What do you guys think about the Boy Scouts and all these other institutions? What's going on? Do you like the hippie, softer side of me? I will tell you, I have voted for Green Party before. Just putting that out there. But I hope you guys have an amazing weekend time. Go with God. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Continue to tune in to the Fat Mantis for reviews, criticisms of society, more and more shenanigans, and this beautiful bald motherfucker. Until next time, ciao for now, bitches.